Hi, guys and girls. Welcome to Friday Time Check. It's the first live we've done under this banner. Hopefully, we'll get many, many more done. Today, we're very, very fortunate to have a legend of YouTube. Under this banner, we've got Gary from I Like Watching. Today, we're very, very fortunate. You got to be on repeat. That's not ideal. You don't want to listen to me twice.
That's all right. It's gone. It's gone.
So today we're going to be talking all things watches. We will open up the floor a bit later on for questions, but we'll do keep it PG clean, guys. We have got moderators that will be assessing your questions, so just play nicely. But I'm sure Gary will be happy to answer some more questions a bit later on. What we normally do at this time is we do start going round to each person to see what they're wearing. Not clothes wise, Gary. We were talking about watches.
A blue t-shirt. I wore something special for you. You know, you appreciate it.
So we will start with our guest, the main man.
Oh man! So I went out today. I took the wife and the little one to a little park in Wokingham. It's got a little paddling pool and loads of play areas and stuff. And I thought, you know what, a little bit of rough and tumble going in the pool. I thought I'd wear a bit of a beater. So I'm wearing my Casio sort of $20 beta watch that I unboxed recently, AE 1500 WH, I think it is.
Is that the one that keeps selling out? Is that the one that keeps selling out? Right.
Yeah,
cool.
like when it came out, it was like $20, 15 quid. And it's awesome. Honestly, it's so cool. Super legible, super cheap. On Amazon, they're about £30, but then there's not that many available. It sounds like some local stores in the US seem to have them at still sort of crazy cheap prices, but it's one of those watches that when it comes out, everyone's like, man, that's incredible. I've got to go and pick it up. And it sells out really, really quick. So I wore that today. And I thought to myself, should I put something fancy on for tonight's show? And I thought, no, you know what? This is what I wore today. So I'm going to leave it on. So that's what I wore.
Awesome. Gary, it's nice to see you've made an effort. So thank you very much.
Don't knock the Casio.
I did get my fancy watch box here. Right? Let me see if I can pick something out. Yeah, no, I want it to be, I want it to keep it real. Keeping it real, man.
Is that the watch that you reviewed last week, the Casio? The one
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, and I in fact I've just unboxed and I've just made a video on the equivalent Timex. Spoiler alert, it's rubbish. Don't waste your time. Watch the video. Obviously,
watch the video. We don't need to watch it now. That's it.
But yeah, just to see how rubbish. Just to see how rubbish the Timex is. Don't waste your time with the Timex. Just get the Casio if it's available. Yeah. Now it's a great watch. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, Adrian.
We got some people in the chat. Just say hi. We got Matty S in there. We've got Average Joe and Ken Spear checking in from Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Hello, nice to have you in. Nice to see you. Nice. So, Adrian, what are you wearing?
What am I wearing? Well, I should get you to guess, really, shouldn't I? Although it's not what you saw earlier.
Escapement time.
No, I would. No. Seiko Samurai.
Oh, nice.
Great watch.
Just up there, look. Nice. Ooh. Great watch.
I do like the Samurai. It's become sort of my preferred Seiko, if I'm honest. I think Adrian's converted me. I used to quite like the Turtles, but now I'm a Samurai guy.
Have you seen the Shogun? Have you ever seen a Shogun?
It's a car, isn't it?
No, there's a yeah, probably. Good luck wearing that on your wrist.
I know you're into your car detailing, so I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
No. There's a Seiko. It looks so similar to the Samurai, but it's called I think it's the Shogun. Yeah, they're super expensive, but I wondered if you'd seen that and what you'd thought of that. But anyway, have a look at that.
No, I don't know it.
It looks like Samurai. It's got a cool, funky white dial. I'm sure there are some differences, which is why it's called a Shogun and not a Samurai. But yeah, I saw that.
Will you be getting them on your channel through your?
Not the Shogun at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I'm loving my Seikos at the moment. My Seiko divers. I mean, I'm obviously with Seiko Saturday. I'm working my way through the Prospects range at the moment.
Yep.
Because all right, there's loads of issues with alignment and stuff, but they're still great watches. I still love the brand, you know, and they are in the process of trying to fix it by all accounts. So I can't ignore the brand. And I know the viewers love Seiko still. So, of course, if people want to watch the videos, I'm happy to make the videos. But, yeah, the Shogun, the Samurai is a great watch. I just wondered if you'd seen the Shogun. I was going to ask you what the differences were because I didn't know.
Sorry. With that being said, before we go off on a tangent, Adrian, Jordan, what watch are you wearing? I've got two on.
The Samurai.
Samurai.
He's got the Samurai.
Two. I thought you'd go for two like me. I thought I'd be like double bubble for our first one.
No. That's not for me.
No,
I mean, this yeah. I don't know if I can get one. Don't think I can get one to fit this wrist. It's bigger than this one.
don't ask. I don't want to know. Anyway, Simon, what are you wearing?
We'll start off with the one that's on my left wrist. It's a Vario. I think it's something similar to what you've had in before.
Oh, I'm in the process of trying to make the review. I keep getting distracted by unboxing new watches, but yeah, there it is. Beautiful.
It was sent in actually by Matthias, what the gentleman is watching now. So thank you very much, Matthias, for sending it over for review. I'm very, very thankful.
Great watch.
And it will soon become clear as to why I'm wearing two watches.
Exciton. Don't tell me it's not the Exciton. Don't do this to me, son. Hey!
I wasn't going to get caught out again, mate. Don't be silly.
You know what? I was going to wear it, and then I thought, you know what? Simon will be wearing it. That'd be weird if we both got it on. So I was worried then you weren't going to have it on.
Once bitten, twice shy.
If you'd have both worn it, at least you could have really pushed me under the bus, couldn't you?
I don't know. Adrian, what's going on? What's going on? I'm not going to back a fellow YouTuber. Wow.
Well, yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know. It's not good enough.
I let you off, Gary, to say make sure you wear Exciton so we can stitch Adrian up.
Yeah. No, I thought it would be too obvious, mate. I didn't want to be one of those guys that was always wearing his own watch. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to be true to myself and just show you the watch I've been wearing today. Is this one? So
yeah, the Casio is cool. You can't get any cooler than a Casio.
They're just so cheap and functional, aren't they? You just can't go wrong with them, really.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
At the quality compared to, I mean, you know, some of the cheap Smales and Skmees from AliExpress, they're not that much cheaper. And let's be honest, they're just a bit rubbish. I mean, I don't understand why they need to kind of, is it homage? Well, they're not. They're kind of direct copies of a watch that's already kind of 10 or 20 British pounds or dollars. You know, it makes no sense. Well, they're homaging sort of expensive G-Shocks, but they're doing a pretty bad job. I got 15 of them, funnily enough, when I did my old I Like Tech Watches channel. I went and bought 15 Skmees and Schmales. I've got a visitor. I'm so sorry. Hello. I'm sorry about this. Hello. Come and say hello quick.
It's part of the show.
Really late. What are you doing up?
Hello.
Say hello. We're on telly.
Hello.
What's your name?
What's your name? Olivia.
That's a lovely name.
Oh, that is a nice name.
Much
Are you wearing a watch, Olivia?
Yeah, she doesn't like watches. She gets fed up every time she goes on YouTube and videos of watches come up. She's like, I hate it. I was like, well, just don't start a channel called I Hate Watches. That won't go fantastic. Right, off you go, sweetheart. No, come on, you got to go, sweetheart.
Hey, Olivia, very nice to see you.
Say goodbye.
No.
Right, I'll give you 1 minute. I'll be back in a minute.
So I think she's staying.
She heard Skmei and Skmeo and she wanted to pop in.
No. Absolutely, yeah.
Hang on a minute. Come on, Brian. I wasn't expecting that. Sorry about that.
That's the joys of when you do things live.
She's back again. Hang on.
So she's here for the duration.
Sweetheart, can you please? Oh, sorry about that.
No, listen, mate, you're quite all right. I've got 3 kids. I've got them under strict. Yeah, I've got 3. I've actually sort of. They're currently chained to their bed, so they can't come in.
Well, when I did my life, though, I made sure I started it when she was asleep. But like I said, we've only just got back from the park. We got back super late. And I literally rushed upstairs with a cup of tea and signed in straight away. But anyway, yeah, Exciton. Sorry about that. I didn't wear it. But don't worry, Adrian.
Is it one of your special cups of tea, or is it actually tea?
No, it is tea. because, like I said, I had a couple of Pims at mum's. So I went to pick up the dog from mum's, and I didn't want to start on the specialty because then the tongue would start wagging. And
Well, guys, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it might be the good time for the first question. And obviously, we can sort of elaborate, and I'm sure it was sort of amalgamating into something else anyway. That tends to be the way, doesn't it? So I just thought I'd ask one of my questions, actually. My question's a lot more boring than Adrian, so I do apologize. But I wanted to ask you, what do you enjoy most about being a YouTube content creator?
I've always liked working for myself, to be honest. Well, I say that, right? So I've been self-employed before. I've done I worked sort of on building sites, and then I did sort of property development. And I sort of go through this phase of enjoying working for myself, and then it just becomes like really hard work, and I just want to be lazy and go and work for someone else. So then I go and get a job in like IT or something, and then I get fed up of having to answer to somebody else, and then I want to go and like work for myself again. So I'm in that phase at the moment. I've just spent 5 years doing sort of basic networking and stuff for a company, and I was getting itchy feet. You know, I just wanted to go and work for myself again. I love the freedom. I love I mean, like today, for example, just went off to the park, and you know, I love that freedom of being able to do what I want when I want. I like sort of being in control, being able to decide sort of, you know, how I or where I take the channel and all that sort of stuff. But of course, it's the obvious stuff. I just love producing content. I love watches. I love interacting with people. I spend so much time chatting with people through Patreon, Discord, through YouTube. I love it. I literally can't put my phone down.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I spend so much time chatting to people and engaging with people. So if I'm not producing content, I'm usually talking to people. And there's so many avenues these days that people can get in touch. Instagram, Twitter, it's never ending. And that's what I love about it. I love the freedom to do what I want when I want, but I also love engaging with people. I've always been a bit of a people person. I've always enjoyed, you know, meeting people, chatting to people. So it's all of that. I love it. I mean, I love watches, obviously, but it's not just about, you know, loving watches isn't what it's all about. You have to enjoy all that other stuff as well to enjoy this, because just enjoying watches isn't enough. You have to enjoy the making the videos, because like my full reviews take 12 to 15 hours. I could be sat filming a watch for 3 hours in a room. Just, you know, it's boring, but you know, you have to get that buzz of creating content to actually enjoy it. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I think that's something that actually a guy in the chat here, Average Joe, when I first started, because he's the guy who kind of encouraged me. And when I first started, I wouldn't say that I enjoyed making the content, whereas now I do. I think it took me a long time to find where I wanted my videos to go and how I wanted to do them.
You learn your style. It evolves.
It does, yeah, and it's not. It was really difficult to begin with. You know, actually trying to develop a style, and you know, you see other people do different things. You think, oh, I'll see if I can incorporate something like that in mine, and it's just never the same. You've got to just be yourself. I think that's the biggest thing that I've found.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to do my own thing, and I gave Simon some advice when he started, and I said to him, try something different in every video, because if you do that, then you very quickly learn your own style. The problem is sometimes you can get a bit stagnant and a bit stale when you just produce the same sorts of videos, and they get a bit boring, a bit samey. And it doesn't matter if you're showing different watches. If the videos don't evolve, then people, I think, get a bit bored. So I've always tried different things in videos to sort of see what works, and my videos have evolved massively, and I've gone down a few different avenues to sort of explore and see what sort of feedback I get. So I do enjoy the video side of things, but I've got to say, just chatting to people is what I like, really. It's giving people what they want, giving them the content they want, trying to influence things as well. Like I like to get stuck into to sort of try and improve things, like the Chronos name change, for example. You know, loved that. It was so much fun. I got a bit of stick for it, but all right, I didn't choose the name. Still, Yeah, so it's good. It's good. And Simon's videos are coming on a treat. You know, and he's doing really, really well. He's pushing himself. I know he is, to improve the sort of technical side of things. And that's the key.
Yeah, but it's all a learning curve, though, isn't it? And what I've found is improving small things and doing and one thing at a time. Because what I've found is try in the beginning was trying to improve everything. And
no, you can't.
You look at the whole thing and it's just too much. So you just do one thing at a time.
Yeah. How do you edit your videos? Because I do everything on my phone, and that always surprises people. But literally, all I use my PC for is to upload the videos and store them.
I do everything from a phone as well. The only thing I do on the I mean, the only thing I do on the PC is the things that you don't get on YouTube Studio on your phone. That's it.
So how do you edit your videos then?
On my phone.
Yeah, but what program do you use? Because I use Luma.
Oh, I see. I use it. It's just the built-in one that comes with the camera, if you like. It's just the built-in video editor. Early on I did try and use a third-party video editor, but what I found was it was making my videos look like you were looking at them through a letterbox, and I couldn't change it. It was a dreadful thing.
Adrian, was that the same time you was a peeping Tom though? Was that the same time? Or...
He was literally looking through a letterbox.
There was times. We don't like to talk about it anymore. But I mean...
No, it's not something I talk about a lot
as well. You're using LumaFusion, aren't you, Simon?
I am, mate. Thanks to you. Obviously, we were talking sort of late last year, and we was having messages back and forward, and you gave me the advice to opt for LumaFusion and
software.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm still not utilizing it as much as I should.
No, I'm not. It can do so much.
Is that something that's just available on iPhone then?
I wonder. Is it only on iPhone?
I think so.
Yeah, because I'm Android, so yeah, I'm one of those.
The dark side, Adrian. You'd come over from the dark side. The iPhone is the best. I'm not.
LumaFusion.
Listen, my daughter keeps telling me that.
Honestly, I just love the platform. To be honest, with iPhone, with your iPad, with everything. Everything's so samey, so it doesn't feel like you have to relearn anything because everything's the same. It's so user friendly. Obviously, Gary will know more because he's in IT and stuff. But that's the reason they've been so successful. Do you understand what I mean in terms of...
Let me just clear something up. I was never in IT. I just conned them into thinking I was in IT. But when I got offered the job, I was fitting some guttering and some fascias and soffits. That's literally, I was up a ladder and they went, "Oh, do you want to come do some work for us?" I was like, "Yeah, this got to be better than this. It's freezing cold." And yeah. So yeah, smoke mirrors.
How the hell did you blag that then, Gary? How did you blag that?
Oh, my brother works for the company that I was working for, and they basically needed someone to build some tablets for a couple of weeks. And you know, I'm not an idiot. I can follow a few instructions. So he was like, "Look, my brother's self-employed. We can get him in." They were a bit short-staffed, and I went in, and they seemed to like the cut of my jib. So then, when a networking job came up, they offered it to me, and I was like, "Well, I don't even know what networking is." And they went, "Well, here's some routers and switches. Here's YouTube. Go and figure it out." So I had 6 weeks to basically learn how to set up a network at home. I did it, and then they basically. They seem to be happy with me, and for 5 years I was literally just like, look over here while I make mistakes over here.
It's like being a magician, isn't it? It's sort of like
smoke and mirrors. And honestly, it became an office joke that, like, because I was the only one that worked there that had no IT qualifications. I'd literally walked in off a building site, and I was being invited into meetings, and I was literally just sat there, and stuff was going over I had this glazed look on my face the whole time. But for somehow I lasted 5 years. They caught up with me eventually. We won't talk about that.
Well, I think you've kind of alluded to that a little bit, haven't you? Sometimes in your videos.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted.
Double bursted.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. No, I was looking to get out, to be honest, and it was a sort of a mutual thing. But it was good. It was good. Networking is interesting, but it doesn't compare to reviewing watches, to be honest. So I'm happy.
One thing I wanted to ask very quickly. Obviously, this isn't a question, but I was talking to Adrian about this before in terms of macro shots and stuff. Because for me, that's something I really want to get into, and that's something I really want to integrate into my channel. But it doesn't seem easy. I've got to be honest.
It's not easy. When I say to you, it takes me 3 hours to get the footage of a watch for a full review, I'm not exaggerating. Some days I will take footage and photos and videos of watches, and I'll do maybe 2 or 3 watches in a full day if I'm lucky. And I go to extreme lengths to get the clean shots. I mean, I wouldn't say I've got OCD. It's never been diagnosed by a doctor, but I'm quite particular. And there's nothing worse than, well, for me anyway, like if I'm looking at a video and it's this watch and you're seeing macro shots and there's just dust and hairs all over the watch, I can only see the dust and hairs. I'm totally distracted from looking at the watch by the dust and the dirt. So when I do my footage, I have 3 air purifiers up here. I clean the room. I go to crazy lengths. I use air blowers, all sorts. I flood the light box with purified air. Also I go to crazy lengths to get the clean shots. But basically I get them with a little clip-on camera that was about 12 quid off Amazon and my iPhone. So I'm not using fancy equipment. I'm just getting the watches as clean. I use makeup brushes to sort of sweep away any dust between each shot. I mean, it's madness, but it ends up with really clean macro shots, which I really like. I know that's what I'm really working hard to sort of produce decent, clean shots. So there's no trick to it really, other than just trying to clean your environment and clean the watch while you're shooting. Yeah,
because that's like I've been talking to Adrian about. That's something that I really see as the way forward for my channel in terms of really starting to concentrate more, especially on the finer details. It's because like we were talking about briefly with Seikos, I feel like at the price point they do the best dials in the business. So what I would like to be able to do is to capture those moments, capture the dial, capture the indices. Do you understand what I mean? And the only way I'm going to do that is by having really good shots on the macro.
Yeah, so I use macro shots to back up what I'm saying. Basically, if you say something to someone, if you say this watch is really good, they might believe you, they might not. But if you say it's really good and then you show them pictures of it looking really good, they're more likely to believe you. And so I have always tried to match up my images to what I'm saying to back it up, because there is a lot of sort of distrust in some respects. When someone says something, you almost need to be persuaded in another way that it's true. So I don't just want people to listen to me. I want them to listen to me, but then also look at the pictures and go, oh, you know what? He's right. That does look incredibly well built. And so that's why I use macro shots. And that's why I go to sort of the lengths that I go to with my footage and my images to back up what I'm saying, basically, because I don't want people just to listen to me. I want them to believe the images as well as my words. So it's worth it. I mean, it's obviously a lot of work, which is why I only produce maybe 1 or 2 full reviews a week now, because you can't do them every day. They're 12 hours. I literally, I wouldn't get any sleep. I'd literally just.
I definitely need to up my game then. I think.
Well, look, you don't have to go to those lengths.
On average, I think about 5 hours. I think is what it takes me per
that's
video.
Still a long time. Yes. So the trap that I fell into was I was constantly trying to speed up the process of making videos. But then when I sped up the process, I realized, I've sped up the process. I can add something else to my videos. So I would take that time that I'd saved and use it somewhere else. So no matter what I did, I always seemed to spend 10 to 12 to 15 hours on a full review. It doesn't matter how efficient I become. I end up going spending that time doing something else to make the review even better.
But I think, do you know what? That's no bad thing, though, isn't it? Because all that shows is a certain level of diligence, doesn't it? In terms of wanting to produce,
Yeah, I hope my videos. I mean, I want my videos to stand out. We all do, of course. That's why we do it. I mean, if we didn't want our own videos to stand out, we just watch other people's videos. I mean, we're doing it. We want people to watch.
I think a lot of it is, I think, for self-enjoyment. It is for me.
I love it.
I mean, the little kind of the 60-second intros that are basically the watch at the beginning of my videos. I absolutely love making those.
Yeah, you get a buzz out of it.
I've got a long way to go with them, a long way. But yeah, every now and again I'll put one up and I go, do you know what? Yeah, that's cool. But most of the time I'm never completely happy with them. But I really enjoy doing that bit.
No. If I watch one of my videos and there's something I'm not happy with, I just try to fix it in the next video. But like I was saying to Simon, I just always have tried to push myself. I'm not pushing myself quite so hard these days because I'm sort of fairly happy with the level of content that I'm creating. And you know, at some point you have to just sort of accept that it's pretty good, or you're happy with it and focus on other things perhaps. But if you're not happy with your content, then just try to improve it. But it does feel good when you nail a video. That every now and then I nail a video and I'm like, oh man, I love that. That gives me such a buzz. I really enjoy it. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you like to ask the next question, Adrian?
Yeah. Where can you buy an Exciton? No, you can't.
Where's that bus? Where's the bus?
Yeah, off you go. Come on.
Have you got your Oyster card?
Right. On that note, because that's probably what I'm talking about is going to be the answer to this question. But as a watch content creator, I mean, you get all these watches that you buy them, other companies send them in, and then you send them on to someone else, and all the rest of it. You see so many watches. Do you have what? And it's that dreaded grail. Do you have a grail piece of your? I don't mean do you possess one, but is there one is there a watch?
Yeah, and it's a fairly obvious, boring one. So I almost feel a bit dull answering this question sometimes. But I went on before I started my channels. I've always liked dive watches, and I went to Blue Water in Dartford, east side of London, just for an afternoon on my own, just to have a look at some watches. They've got a Rolex dealer down there and a Grand Seiko jewelers. And I just popped into the Rolex place and put myself down for a Submariner on the waiting list. Cool. Not because I wanted one there and then. I just thought, well, I'm here, might as well go on the list. And I do love the Submariner. Funnily enough, I'm not a massive Rolex fan. It's certainly not a brand that really appeals to me. It's just that watch. And obviously I've featured a lot of subby homages on my channel. So it's almost my bread and butter to some degree. So I feel like there's a scratch or an itch there that I need to scratch by actually handling and owning the real thing. How I'm going to pay for it, I've no idea. I sort of assumed it would be a while before I picked it up and I'd have the money. So I've got to sort something out. If ever they call me up and go, it's ready, I'm going to be like, hang on a minute, I've got to phone my parents or I've got to find a Mr. X or something. But I just thought, why not?
What's the sort of waiting time, Gary? Because it's quite a substantial.
Well, they said 2 years. It's been 2.5 years, and I haven't heard a peep. So.
Okay, I've heard it's up to 5.
Well, actually, to say I haven't heard a peep is a lie. They did call me and say there's a new subby coming out, so expect it to be longer than 2 years. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not convinced I'm on any list anymore. I don't have any faith, to be honest.
What do you think of the policy of some of these ADs where you've got to have a purchase history?
Well, my local AD
put you on the list.
Yeah, my local AD is Reading, and I called them up first of all, and they basically said to get on the list, you've got to buy an unpopular Rolex, and I told them where to stick it. That's ridiculous. And he offered me some sort of ladies' brown watch, and I was like, why would I spend $4,000 on that? Just to get on the waiting list. I mean, no, absolutely not. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but it is what it is. I'd love to pick one up. Not so much because I love the brand, but just because I do like the watch, and there are so many homages of it. It's a watch that fascinates me.
Your Grand Seiko wasn't your grail then?
No. Funnily enough, I just went into that jewelers. Excuse me. So I went into that jewelers just to have a look at the Snowflake, actually. And on the way in, I walked past the Grand Seiko stand. And I just said I'd love to see the Snowflake, but actually there's this watch that's sort of quite close to it in the display, and it really caught my eye. And so I sat down in can't remember the name of the jewelers now, but I sat in there. The guy brought over 2 Grand Seikos, and I didn't pay the Snowflake a jot of notice. It's titanium. It's titanium, isn't it? I do like steel watches. I like watches to have a bit of weight to them. Yeah, the dial is beautiful on the Grand Seiko, but it was light. And I'm one of these people that weight equals quality. And so titanium watches, there's something missing from titanium. Well, weight is what's missing from it. I just feel, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you pick something up, you think it's metal and it turns out to be plastic.
Gary, I'm not going to lie to you, mate. You sound like a real detective. There's something missing from titanium.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on that super lightweight metal, but yeah, something's missing. But yeah, I honestly, the Snowflake was just like, it just, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. And the whole time I was there, I could not take my eye off this SBGA 373. Super clean, crisp lines, really flat surfaces, obviously Zaratsu polished, spring drive, absolutely incredible watch. The sunburst champagne dial is out of this world. It's the most incredible watch I've ever seen. And I was in there for 2 hours just staring at this watch. And in the end, I disappeared out, had a coffee, came back, and negotiated a 10% discount with them.
Oh, wow.
10% off. Yeah.
I didn't think ADs did that sort of thing. I didn't think ADs were open to doing sort of.
Oh yeah, they don't like. They won't announce it. They won't. Put it on their website or whatever. But you can negotiate. I even put it on a video on my old channel. I basically said if you go in and you want to negotiate with a Grand Seiko AD, at that time they just weren't selling, so I got a 10% discount.
Yeah, I think most of them will negotiate. I think the only ones that you can't negotiate with are Tudor and Rolex, isn't it? They are fixed.
The watches that you want are the ones that you got to wait for. So good luck getting that call. Your Submariner's in. Would you accept $5,000 for it? Where's it gone? Hello. Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. So yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, I mean, it's stunning. It is stunning. And actually, I messaged someone recently because you know the story about me taking it into the pub and that guy.
Well, I was going to say, has there been any movement in terms of getting the scratches out?
Yeah. So Ryan at Francis and Gay, the jewelers in Coventry, he recommended a guy in the UK that refinishes with Zaratsu polishing, because I was considering getting it sent over to Japan to have it refinished, but I'm not convinced that a refinish or a repolish will help, because it's sort of dense on the corners, you know, where I can't believe you brought this up. I feel so I need to skip up it. It absolutely kills me to talk about it. I can't even, it's here actually. I've got my watch box here with sort of all my nicer watches in it. And look, they're small. They're really small. They're microscopic dents. But at the end of the day, when the lines are so crisp, they still stick out like a sore thumb.
Zaratsu polishing is another level, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. But can you believe San Martin are doing Zaratsu polishing?
They are?
Are they really?
Let my dog out. My dog's whining. Give me 2 seconds. My dog's crying.
I think what it means is they might have hired someone called Zaratsu that does polishing.
Yeah. Zaratsu.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
A new employee called Zaratsu.
Yeah. No, have you seen their promotional videos on YouTube? They look like that. Yeah. So San Martin have released some on their YouTube channel. There's a San Martin YouTube channel, and they've done a number of factory tours. And they're a whole nother level. And it looks like from the video that they're doing Zaratsu polishing on some of their watches. And at the end of the day, it's a technique. It's not expensive to do. It's more of a technique, and you know, it's done by master craftsmen in Japan. I'm sure, you know, the Seiko Zaratsu polishers, that they've probably been doing it for years, generation after generation. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think it's just a tin wheel, isn't it? You know,
what are these watches coming in at though, in terms of price?
Well, it's the divers at $220 and stuff.
No way, you're having me
with Zaratsu polishing.
Well, they are. I don't know. I haven't had it confirmed which watches are having.
That'll be interesting to see if they are and which ones they're doing.
Yeah, But you check out the. I mean, I've spoken in videos about the clarity of polished surfaces, and I've shown macro shots of comparing, poorly polished surfaces compared to, really well polished surfaces, and you can see the difference. It's all about the clarity of the reflection and sort of how smooth and flat. You don't get that orange peel effect, and I've always noticed more so recently that the polished surfaces on some San Martin watches are absolutely exceptional. Now, don't quote me on this, but it does look like in their promotional videos that they are showing Zaratsu polishing being done. So I'm curious to find out myself. I should have probably asked them, but it does look like they're doing something that looks remarkably like Zaratsu polishing.
I'm not going to lie. I'm on the San Martin train. I'm not going to lie in terms of what they produce.
Different level.
It's crazy. They put bigger companies to shame. In fairness, in terms of
I think they do, but I've only seen 2 San Martins. Both were sent over by Simon. One of them was incredible, and the other one I thought was pretty bloody awful. It was that bronze one. That was it was bad. It was sharp. The bezel was sharp. The case edges were sharp, and the sharpness on the end of the lugs was dangerously sharp.
Do you know what I think that's from? I think that's from their desire to create super sort of, a bit like the sort of sharp lines of Grand Seiko, for example. But I think they almost took it too far.
Yeah, maybe.
Because having slightly rounded edges could be seen as, not quite so, perfect or whatever.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. I think the thing that like sorry, go on.
Go on. No, you go.
No, I was just going to say that the only other thing was the Cyclops, and that's probably the worst Cyclops I've seen. I think Simon would agree with that. It was pretty bad. But I mean, things like that does happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen, but in terms of overall finishing, they are exceptional, and I get a real buzz when people message me and say, I finally got my first San Martin and I can totally and utterly see what you're talking about, because quite often I see messages where people are saying, I don't know why people are paying X, Y, and Z for a San Martin when you can pick up a Pagani design or whatever for half the price. And it's like, when you've held a good one, you'll see it. And I know I get called a shill and all this sort of stuff for San Martin. But
to be fair though, Gary, I don't even think you need to hold a good one. Even if you hold a bad San Martin, it's going to be miles better than the Pagani design. With all due respect, I've always wanted to just drive people towards the good watches, and I promote San Martin and Kronos and good brands heavily because I do truly believe they are that good. It's just a genuine desire to get across to people just how good they are. San Martin, they really are sort of pushing the same sort of quality as sort of £1,000 watches on the high street. Undoubtedly, all right, they're putting NH35s and PT5000s in them, but the actual quality of the finishing is remarkable.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with the NH35 movement. I mean, their prices reflect that anyway, don't they?
No, of course. But what I meant was when you compare it to a £1,000 watch from the high street, of course, it's going to have a 6R35 or a sort of decent citizen movement is what I'm saying. So in terms of comparing it to a £1,000 high street watch, it's not a completely fair comparison because the movements won't be comparable. But in terms of the finishing, and the build quality and everything, I think they're there. I mean, you look at £1,000 Seiko, sometimes it's disappointing.
Although that being said, I bought one of the King Samurais.
Oh yeah,
the Manta Ray.
Oh yeah, nice,
beautiful watch. Sapphire.
When you get a good one. When you get a good one, they're incredible. I love Seiko. I'm not knocking Seiko, but it's just that feeling of the tolerances, the pressed clasp, and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes on a sort of low to mid tier Seiko, they can still feel a bit cheap, can't they?
Yeah, 100%.
I think a bit of a surprise when you open the box, though, isn't it? If you get a good one, it's like Christmas has arrived.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. But it shouldn't be that way, should it? It shouldn't be a bonus.
No, that shouldn't be a bonus.
No.
So I'm going to go on to my second and last question. So which one is it?
Yeah, because he didn't tell me what they were, Gary.
I'm getting nervous.
Is there any brands in particular you'd like to work with more?
Well, funnily enough, I picked up when I went to see Ryan at Francis and Gay the other day. I picked up a Hamilton, and I unboxed my first Hamilton. And in that unboxing, I basically said I'm embarrassed that it's taken me 2 years to pick up my first Hamilton, because I spend so much time looking at watches online, and I always look at, there's certain brands you always look at: Seiko, Tissot, Hamilton. The sort of fairly sort of well-known, popular, low to mid-priced sort of Swiss brands. I've always looked to pick up a Hamilton, and I'm really glad that I've picked one up. It wasn't the Hamilton that I was ever expecting to pick up. It's a new one. It's an all-white watch. It's a bit feminine. It's sort of 37 mil, sort of 100-meter desk diver watch. I
was going to ask you, is it a ladies' watch?
Do you know? You know what? Funnily enough, the Hamilton rep was in, and I asked him. I said, "Is this a man's watch?" I sort of said, I asked him is it a unisex watch, and he said it is more of a man's watch, but it's a holiday watch. He's described it as a holiday watch. It's 100 meters of water resistance. It's a sort of swimming watch more than a diving watch, and I like it. I mean, I like watches with white dials, and okay, the white ceramic bezel insert does take it to a slightly more feminine level, but it is still beautiful, and I can't wait to put it on a red strap. But I unboxed it, and the build quality was absolutely incredible, blew me away. Totally and utterly see what the fuss is about when it comes to Hamilton watches. So I absolutely 100% now want to pick up some more Hamiltons. I love Tissot, I love Satina. Sorry?
I'm a real fanboy of Hamilton anyway, so I'm not going to disagree with you. I love Hamilton. I think where they shine more, though, is more their sort of pilots' watches and stuff, generally.
Yeah, and those are the watches I thought I'd pick up first, of course. But, this is so different that when it was offered to me to bring home and unbox and review to borrow, I couldn't turn it down. And it's a new watch. It's always nice to show new watches on the channel, isn't it? Something that might not have been reviewed that much. It's always nice to sort of bring variety to people, and that's what I'm trying to do as well.
Do you try and keep it as eclectic as possible in terms of Chinese specials and regular brands?
What do you mean? How do you mean?
So, because I know some brands, they seem to concentrate quite a bit on AliExpress watches, and other people seem to concentrate on, they have their own sort of brands that they tend to go to more. Do you try and keep it as even as possible, or is that not really something you consider?
More so now. At the beginning, I was buying all my watches, and so, you have to it's almost like starting up a football club, isn't it? You've got to start at the very bottom, in the lower leagues. You've got to buy the super cheap watches to get as much content as you can, and then as the channel grows, you start to get in a bit of money, and then you have a little bit more money to spend on watches. Then you get offered the odd free watch, and you almost work your way up the leagues to the point where, you have to almost, you're in a position to either buy or borrow or get given for free slightly more mid-tier watches. And so at the beginning, I was getting a lot of people saying, you need to start, it was so funny at the beginning, like my channel had been going like 1 month, and someone was like, you need to start, showing more Swiss made watches. Like I'm going to go out and buy like £500 watches. It's just not possible. You have to sort of work your way up to that. And I'm getting to the point now where I can afford to show a bit more variety, and I'm broaden the audience, or broaden the watches, and try and sort of broaden my audience, if you like, get more people in that like different types of watches. Because at the beginning it was just all AliExpress, and that got boring for some people. Sorry, but
no. That wasn't really the premise of my question. I meant generally. I meant. I don't mean in terms of sort of talking about. To be honest, obviously, I agree with you in the respect of, obviously, when you start your channel, you're like you said, your analogy is pretty cool actually in terms of the football.
Yeah, you're in the you're in the lower leagues. Yeah.
And so I get what you're saying.
Do you mean for my collection?
No, what I mean is that are you aware of the fact that you want to try and keep it as diverse as possible? in terms of the sort of brands you have on your channel? Or does
Yeah,
that,
and that's sort of what I was trying to say is now that I can have more brands than I am. That was sort of the point I was trying to make. I probably didn't make it very well, but the point I was sort of trying to make was at the beginning, you've got no choice. Doesn't matter what you want, you know, unless you've got loads of money or unless you've got access to free watches, you've got to start at the lower leagues. But now that the channel's grown a little bit and I've established a relationship with the jewelers who's happy to lend me watches, I'm getting some more free watches. I am trying to equalize that balance between sort of, you know, sportier digital watches, Swiss watches, high street watches, and AliExpress watches. I am definitely trying to find a better balance.
would you ever go back to having just an all digital channel?
I've literally just started I Like Tech Watches too. The video's going, the first video's going live maybe this weekend. I've unboxed a cool a new vintage Casio, the one that looks like a little Game Boy. It's got 4 buttons. And the Marathon. Do you remember I was talking about the Marathon, the Timex equivalent to this? I start that channel, I Like Tech Watches 2, with a double unboxing. So you heard it here first.
So I've got an exclusive. There you go, guys.
Yeah, because I'm getting more digital watches in, and the content that I want to produce on digital watches, I want it to be sort of shorter, sort of bite-sized videos. And I don't want to clutter. I don't want to clog up I Like Watches with lots of little sort of digital watch videos, if that makes sense, or how-tos and things like that. I want my I Like Watches channel to remain fairly sort of pure in terms of automatic unboxings and reviews, and I didn't want to turn it into a sort of half digital, half automatics channel. And so yeah, I like to keep things neat and tidy. It's that whole OCD thing again, isn't it? A place for everything in its place. So yeah. Literally, I've started I Like Watches 2. I've created the channel. It's ready to go.
So you're going to be having 3 channels that you've got to try and keep up with. That's no mean task.
Yes, I used to have 3 channels. Of course, I'm not going to talk about it. But
I didn't think we were going to talk about it.
but I've had 3 channels before. I had I Like Watches 2, and I Like Tech Watches, and it's manageable. Obviously, I'm not going to post on each channel every day, but it's just a case of, you know, I'm gonna wind down the amount of content I produce on I Like Watches a little bit, because I said earlier, I think I produced at one point, I produced 21 videos in 21 days for I Like Watches. Well, that's just I can't keep that going. So I'm going to produce 3 or 4 videos on I Like Watches, and then I'm going to start to produce some content on I Like Watches 2 and I Like Tech Watches 2 again, whilst working on J&G watches.
So has there been any? I was going to ask about that actually, because you was you not talking about a dress watch? So
James is working on that at the moment. We're still we're working on the Exciton all the time. In fact, we had confirmation of all the numbers from Maxi and Chronos yesterday, so I need to pay half the money for the Exciton 2 stuff. So Kickstarter gave us the money last week or the week before. That got put into the company bank account, and so now we've agreed, because we never actually finalized the cost of the watches prior to the Kickstarter, because the nature of the industry, prices change all the time. The cost of movements goes up and down all the time. So Maxi couldn't say, this is what, in 3 months' time, this is what your watches are going to cost. So we had to pick a cost or a price for those watches and hope that the prices haven't changed too much. Now, unfortunately, the prices have changed.
Because hasn't one of a factory or something closed in Malaysia or something, so the prices of movements have gone up quite a bit?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know the specifics, but I just know that the certain elements of the quote have changed, but that's fine. You know, we have to deal with that. We have to get over that, and we've now agreed the prices for the final build. We've basically sent Maxi a list of exactly what we want. Maxi's come back. You know, our numbers all tie in. We're happy with the prices that we've been asked to pay, and I'm literally about to pay the first half of the build cost. So it'll be paid in 2 halves. I'll get 2 invoices. And so when all that is sorted, James is going to continue to work on the dress watch. He's working on it all the time. He's a very fastidious and very particular gent. He knows what he wants, and he spends a lot of time getting there. I mean, I've said many times how much time he spent on that bracelet for the Exciton 2. You just can't even comprehend it, the amount of hours.
I was going to say, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's going to be special. And I will tell you, he did send me a very rough sort of CAD drawing of the dress watch, and I liked it.
Yeah. Can you give away sort of any dimensions or anything, or are you going to get in trouble?
There's no dimensions set. It's just rough initial CAD drawings. There were a few things about it that I was, I wouldn't say I didn't like. I was a bit not sure about that. But it's just it's a bit different. It's not your sort of just typical dress watch. It's quite cool. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
I'm going to look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, he promised me not to take a screenshot. He made me promise not to take a screenshot and stuff. He was that protective over it, and that's great. I like that. It shows how serious he's taking this. So yeah, we will start to work on that a little bit more once the build for these watches is underway and we've got a bit more time.
You're still aiming for sort of October time for delivery? Is that still?
So prototypes is 35 days. So once we've paid our first part of the invoice, which will be next week, it'll be a month, just over a month before we get the prototypes. So what will that take us to October? And then it's a month and a half for the final build. So November time, maybe.
So it'll be like the last Exciton then, sort of just before Christmas time.
Yeah, I think it'll be in November time, maybe. Yeah, I think we were hoping for it to be a bit quicker, but it's funnily enough, it's taken a long time for us just to get to this point. We're in 3 completely different time zones, which hasn't helped. I mean, obviously Max is in China, I'm in LA, and James is in Canada, so we're all like, completely different timelines. That doesn't help, but we'll get there. We don't want to rush it like the first watch. We want these watches to be top notch. So
not to sort of be too controversial, but do you think you'll stay with the Lugyu factory in terms of designing, in terms of making your watches?
No, I see no reason to move. I mean, we've got a great relationship with Maxi. They make great watches. There's no denying it. I mean, I had it on good authority that they make cases for Swiss brands. And I can totally believe it. Believe it or not, Swiss watches aren't just made in Switzerland. They're made all over the world. I know, shock horror. But they have things like cases and bezels and all that stuff made in China.
Do you know what?
Yeah, I think that's been known for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. But some people don't know it. And they sort of go, I don't want a Chinese watch. And you go, well, enjoy that Tissot.
Yeah,
that was made in China.
I think that's so lucky, though, isn't it? Because as long as a certain percentage is sort of Swiss, they can say it's Swiss.
65%, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's.
And how do you quantify 65% of a watch?
I have no idea.
It's unquantifiable. I don't. Yeah,
but
the reality is
ultimately, the consumer, who oftentimes they want to buy a watch and they're buying it in good faith. That is so misleading. Do you know what I mean? In terms of they think they're buying a bona fide Swiss watch when they'd be better off going to buy a Swiss chocolate, because there's nothing about this watch realistically that is Swiss. We had a watch on our channel a while ago. It was a Devosa watch. Do you remember that, Adrian?
Yeah.
And this watch, I'm sorry, but it was awful. It was.
Careful, I've just sold it. He might be watching.
Great watch. Yeah, top dollar. It's perfect. Yeah,
I think it's probably okay. It's probably a different Devosa, but in terms of the one I'm talking about, it was the only thing about it was Swiss was probably, I don't know, the cheese they had that morning. There was nothing Swiss about it.
Well, it's like Sterling. Some Sterling watches are Swiss made. Invicta Swiss made. It's very, very misleading. It's like the water resistance thing. 100 meters of water resistance. No, that doesn't mean you can dive down to 100 meters for an hour and your watch will be fine. And it's not the only industry that has these misleading elements to it, unfortunately. But they are the Swiss brands are capitalizing on that reputation, and they're working it to their advantage. That's their choice. if people are that bothered, they need to do their research and understand, what exactly Swiss made means. But most people don't bother. They just trust it means it's good. And they are generally very, very good. I'm not.
I was going to say, to be fair, generally they are, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying they're not necessarily what people think they are. And people are always shocked, or people are often shocked when you go, well, did you know that Swiss brand has their cases made at the Kronos factory? And they're like, oh, didn't know that. Yeah. Well,
not that should make any difference as long as the case is good.
It shouldn't. But yeah, perception is everything is made in Switzerland when it isn't.
A bit. I don't think the issue is the fact where it's the misrepresentation, isn't it? I think the thing is, if you're saying for the most part this is Swiss made, a normal person on the street is expecting it to be made in Switzerland.
That's where they kind of use that, the 65% thing, isn't it? And as Gary said, how do you quantify that? And the average person in the street really probably doesn't care. As long as it says Swiss made on the dial, they're happy with that. I mean, and you're also talking about the kind of lower to the low mid tier anyway, aren't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, Rolex is all in house. A lot of the top Swiss brands, and they're not getting their cases made in China. I know that. I'm not really talking about those brands, but yeah, it's the sort of low to slightly mid-tier Swiss brands that perhaps it's a bit confusing and a bit misleading. But it is what it is.
Just a lack of clarification.
So, Adrian, you ready with your last question?
Yes. So, not watch related, this one.
Oh, easy.
Oh, I mean, other than watches, and obviously your watch channel and car detailing, I believe.
I love detailing.
Yeah. I mean, other than those two things, I mean, is there anything else that that kind of interests you? I mean, like, what football team do you support? No, don't you don't have to embarrass yourself for that one. But
that's all right. My brother always gives me loads of stick because he reckons I've had about 9 midlife crises. Crises. I don't know how you say it. Crises, yeah.
Who do you support though? Just for argument's sake.
So my dad and his side of the family are all from Liverpool, but we're all blue apart from my cousin who's a red.
Oh wow!
He used to have a season ticket as well. We used to go up every other week and watch them at home. But yeah, haven't been for a long time. But yeah, we're all really into football. Chris played at a pretty good level. Actually, he was a good footballer. As a youngster, he was at Oxford United. They had a pretty good school of excellence, and we both played football together. There's a bit of an age gap between us, but yeah, we both played men's football and stuff together. I love playing football, but I'm getting too old for that now. I've got a bus knee and a bus back and all that sort of stuff. So I used to really be into football, but I was heavily into drones, sort of freestyle, the freestyle drones.
You mean flying them? Is that?
Yeah, flying drones. Yeah, I used to build them and fly them. Love that. That was an obsession for a couple of years. What else? Car detailing cars. Love all that sort of stuff. Tried to learn the guitar, but I've got sort of chubby little fingers. Doesn't really help. I got to the point where I was trying to learn the F chord, and then that was it. I was out. And those people that know the guitar,
that's the one that stops most people.
Yeah, it is. You get sort of A, C, D. This is easier than what the fuss is about. F. Well, F. How's that work? I can't reach. I'm out.
There is a cheat for it though.
There is, but I tried to cheat. I was struggling even with the cheat. So I was always looking for songs without the F chord, and it does limit you. I've got to say, it was all Ed Sheeran and Damien Rice, but yeah. So I like music. Those sorts. That's about it, really. Sport. And what else? I bought.
So the usual kind of manly stuff, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cars, watches, sport.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but I mean, watches has totally and utterly taken over. Like I've flown one drone this year once, and haven't been to see any football games. Haven't played football. Watches has like no other obsession I've ever had, because I'm quite an obsessive person. When I get into something, I used to be really into sort of going to the gym and all that sort of stuff. I used to take that quite seriously. When I set my mind to something, I almost like can't.
You
rein
go
it
all
back
in.
I'm all in, yeah. And normally there's a little bit of room still left for something else, but with watches, it's not left room for anything else apart from obviously the wife and the little one.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
yeah.
I've just seen Danielle's comment.
Oh really? I'm not seeing any comments. Why can't I
So
see?
yeah, Adrian didn't allude to it when you was talking about guitars and stuff, but he plays in a band. He's quite
does he?
guitarist
So
himself.
he can do the F chord then, can't he?
That's why he was talking about it.
Hang on, let's see if I can block Adrian out. It makes me sick. I've got a mate that plays guitar, and literally I'm sick in my stomach every time I watch him because I'm just like, oh, I hate you. I hate you.
Well, I do the music for the channel, so.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me sick. Really.
To be fair to him, like he makes music for a lot of channels. In fact, there's a lot of channels.
Oh, really?
He does.
I've done a couple. Yeah.
He doesn't like to talk about it though.
So modest. I bet when I started bringing up guitars, he was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, I can't wait."
I've got one right next.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. There we go.
I heard that.
Hasn't been touched for about 6 years. There's an F chord around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Anyway, yeah.
It's up that end, yeah.
It's up that end. Funnily enough, I bought new strings for it. Little beginner strings.
Beginner ones, the plastic ones.
Yeah, the little cheap, flimsy ones. Because I've got sensitive little fingers now. I don't want to mark them all up for my reviews. And I tell you, what about that? Are you guys have to finding that you got to look after your hands a lot more now?
No,
not really. No, I've got very kind of man hands, I suppose. But yeah, keeping your fingernails cut, remembering to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The amount of times I've done a review and I watch it back and I go, really? Yeah. And it's like, am I going to change it now? How much time have I got? When's this being uploaded? It's like,
yeah. No, I'm trying to look after my hands because my hands, got a bit marked up when I was working on the building sites and stuff, and I had I've got a few little scars, and I try and sort of look after my hands a little bit more now because my excuse is these are my money makers.
That's what I mean.
Got to be careful with
I have got a box of those
taking out the rubbish.
Yeah.
The only problem is when you wear white gloves, you end up looking like a snooker referee.
I know.
A little bit of slippery slope.
I wear white gloves for two reasons. I've either damaged my hand and I, like cut it or something, or it's a bit of a mess. I've done something to one of my hands, or I'm wearing a watch with loads of polished surfaces, and I just don't want to constantly be wiping and cleaning the cloth between takes. Cleaning the watch, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So those white gloves I use for. I don't like to use them. I prefer not to wear them, but I will do if I have to. Yeah.
So guys and girls, would anyone like to ask any questions? I think people have been extremely patient.
I'm so sorry because I'm waffling along. I'm a terrible waffler. How long have you set aside for this?
About an hour.
We've had an hour. We've been an hour already.
Per question.
Oh, okay. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was clean shaven when we started.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, go on. Yeah, come on, guys. Ask me some questions.
Don't be shy. Gary will answer anything as long as he doesn't want to answer it, of course.
Yeah,
crazy.
Unless he doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, watch Crazy's put Zaratsu polishing is named after the German polishing machines. That I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting. Actually, I did see a comment that he put up a little while ago, and let's see if I can find it.
Holding.
I think that was about. It's where he says that. When we were talking about how we edit videos, etc. And he said it's a hobby for him, and his video quality is shocking. If he may say so himself, but no, I wouldn't look at it like that. I mean, if the guy's got the kind of wherewithal to put a video together, if you just keep doing it and keep at it, you will get better.
Yeah, 100%. Look at Matty S straight in there. Who does Gary rate as YouTube watch reviewers?
Oh,
Well, he said nothing controversial.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got. It's okay, Gary. I've got his watch here.
Yeah. Look, I tell you what, right? The big boys, right? There's a cluster of big boys out there, and I have got maximum respect for these guys. They got me into it. They got a lot of people into it. They thought about doing this before anybody else. Yeah, I mean, the big channels, they can be controversial sometimes. We all can, I suppose. But at the end of the day, they started it, and they are big for a reason. And I've enjoyed their videos as much as anybody. Went through a phase of just obsessing over all of the big channels and watching all their videos. So I got to give them a lot of credit. I'll leave it there.
I'm not gonna lie. I never knew that you was a politician ever. I feel like I should talk about Boris Johnson now. I feel like I should.
Oh man, there is so much I would love to say, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, look, they're great. So, they're amazing.
Well, there you go, Matty. He's answered your question.
Yeah, but to be honest, what I like genuinely is coming across. I've got a lot of respect for people that do it for the love of it, and do what they want, regardless of viewing figures and all that sort of stuff. And I've got a lot of respect for Miguel at SoCal, Miguel and P. Ross at SoCal Watch Reviews. His channel has been going a long time. He doesn't produce mainstream content. He produces the content, or they produce content they want to make for themselves, because that's what they want to make. And they're almost not being influenced by, making videos that they think will be popular. They're not chasing views. They're not chasing subscribers. And so I've got respect for people like that. And I'm trying to be like that myself. It's a bit more difficult when it's now I lost my job last year. I have to earn money now. So I have to have half a mind on, trying to grow the channel, trying to bring in some sort of income from this. So I try to find a balance between just producing what I want and trying to make, get some sort of growth. But I do have a lot of respect for P. Ross and Miguel, because their channel is amazing. They produce unbelievable content, and yet they've got the sort of subscriber numbers and they get the sort of views that a fairly small new channel would get. So those are the guys I respect, the people that just do it for the love of it. And anybody that's new and wants to have a go and does something a bit different, I love stumbling across a channel every now and then that does do things a little bit different. And there are a few out there. So yeah. But yeah, I got to give credit to the big guys. They started it all, and that's why we're all here doing it.
That's true.
You've name dropped a couple. Is there any of the larger ones you'd like to mention?
No. Jody's a legend. Jody's a legend, obviously. His videos I watched more than anyone's. His videos are. He's doing less. He's doing less AliExpress stuff now. When I first started watching him, it was much more AliExpress stuff. But it's like I was saying earlier, your channel grows, and I love the fact that he's got a huge channel now, and he hasn't gone too much towards the sort of high-end market. He is showing some watches that are obviously a bit more expensive, but why not? I'd love to. But he still will happily show a £70 Pagani design. But he's doing a lot of micro brand stuff. I'm not that interested in micro brands. I'm not that interested in watching the videos on micro brands. So he's reviewing more micro brand stuff than he used to. But yeah, his content was an absolute staple for me. I was subbed. I hit the bell icon. Every video he posted, I would watch. But I just don't have the time to watch them now, to be honest. And that is the genuine truth. People say, what channels do you watch? Honestly, if I'm on YouTube, if I've got 5 minutes, and I'm not working, I'm watching something else.
I'd have to say, obviously,
I don't blame you, because you're living, breathing, eating, and sleeping watches anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I have to. I mean, to sort of make any sort of living out of this, you can't. It's not a 5 days a week job. I'm 7 days a week without fail. I love it, but I'm having to work like an absolute dog at the moment to get any sort of growth or any sort of income from it. But it is, I love it. I wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change it for the world. So yeah. Do you want me to name any other channels? Obviously, watch the Time and Somewhere in Time. Staples of mine. Every night
obviously. Obviously.
Yeah, but no, I genuinely just don't watch that many videos from other channels, if I'm being completely honest.
No, do you know what I was going to say? I'm kind of the same. I don't watch a lot of channels. I tend to watch a lot of stuff from sort of like boxing and MMA and stuff. If I watch,
I love boxing videos, MMA stuff. I'm into all that sort of stuff.
That kind of consume my YouTube normally if I'm on YouTube. I do watch the odd videos of a few people that I watch their videos and I find them interesting. Because the thing is, I've said this before. For me, it's kind of about the watch, but it's more about the person in terms of the way they come across, in terms of I can relate to them and stuff like that. That kind of speaks more to me than actually sometimes the watch they're presenting. So there are certain channels that I have on mine that I'll look up when they've got a watch, but not all. Not all of them.
What goes through mind when I'm watching other people's videos is I could be making my own video. Making a video. I could, instead of watching their video, I could be making a video. And that's where I'm at the moment in terms of trying to provide for wife and kid. And you know what I'm saying? It's like I feel guilty if I tools down and I'm sat enjoying other people's videos. I think to myself, well, I could be, instead of spending time on YouTube watching other people's videos, I could be either spending it with the wife and the kid or working on my own stuff. Maybe at some point in the future, my own stuff will I'll sort of relax a bit more and take my foot off the gas a little bit, and be able to afford to have a bit more downtime. But yeah, at the moment it's there's a lot going on. But I was going
to say even then though, I mean, I can't imagine that you'd want to take some time out, if you like, and have time for yourself and then go and watch YouTube watch reviews.
No, exactly.
I think sometimes though, I think it could also be research in a sense that it will bring your attention to maybe a brand that you hadn't heard of. So sometimes it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it can do. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a couple of channels that I watch regularly. Well, I'd say, let me think. There's probably 4 that I do watch regularly. Others, I think there's a good number that I kind of keep my eye on, and I'll watch a video if I look at the watch and think, oh, that's interesting. I don't necessarily watch every single video. I think it's like Gary was saying. There comes a point where you think, well, yeah, I could be using this time much more productively.
Yeah, and I actually made a decision quite early on not to watch other people's reviews of watches that I was about to review, because I didn't want to fall into that trap of almost not copying, but maybe saying something about a watch that they've said. So I intentionally avoid watching any videos on watches that I'm going to review. I do all my own. I get all the facts, figures, stats, and specifications myself through whatever. And I literally, when I'm filming a full review, for example, I will spend a couple of days wearing the watch, maybe a little bit longer on and off. I've been wearing this Vario on and off for about 3 weeks now. I've taken so long to review it. But I will spend then the day that I'm reviewing it just thinking about the watch, the things I like, the things I'm not so keen on, making lists. And then I record the audio without any preparation whatsoever, and then I just cut out all the gaps in the breaks. And I don't want to be influenced by other reviewers. And funnily enough, I've had a couple of people in the past, or more than a couple, said, "Oh, you've just watched their review and copied it." And it has genuinely just been that you've got 2 watch reviewers see the same in the same watch. It's not unusual. It's just purely coincidental that I might have said something that another watch reviewer has picked up. And of course, that is going to happen. You know, you give the same watch to two watch reviewers, they're going to think, you know, along the same lines sometimes, aren't they?
I think the thing was, sorry, I've got to say, for the first time in terms of reviewing a watch, I watched someone else review a watch I was just about to do. And it did actually ultimately stop me saying a couple of things because I felt like it was too close to what he said. So I did stop myself.
And you shouldn't be influenced by that.
So I can completely understand. I can completely understand what you're saying. So I found myself not mentioning two things, specific things that I felt, okay, I'm not going to mention that because he'd mentioned it so much. I'm not going to talk about the person, but they mentioned it so much that it kind of felt like
made you self-conscious.
Yeah,
and then your review isn't authentic because you're influenced by another reviewer.
And the thing is, it felt a bit like plagiarism then, because obviously I was almost going to spew out something he'd said. Although I agreed with him, I then didn't because of it. So I completely understand that.
Yeah. Now you got to be authentic, and I found the best way to be authentic is just to, you know, not pay too much attention to what other people are reviewing and what they're saying, and just do my own thing. You know, and I listen to the comments. You know, I love reading the comments after posting a video, and I wouldn't say it influences the way I review watches, but it makes me think about the watches that I've just reviewed and makes me question whether or not I was right or wrong. Did I misread this watch? You know, did I look at something in a way that maybe others aren't looking at it? I tend to use other people's comments to almost guide my reviews more than other reviewers.
Yeah, I see that. But the thing is also, with any of this stuff, is subjective anyway, isn't it? So there's going to be things that we prioritize in orders. So, I mean, just because you didn't mention it doesn't mean it wasn't on your radar. It's just that you didn't feel it one of the more prioritizing things to mention. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
There are times when I've reviewed a watch, and before I've reviewed it, I thought, right, I need to mention this. And when I watch it back at the end, I've completely missed it.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that a few times, and I'm like, do I take it down, Ria? No,
yeah, exactly.
It kills me. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and that's why I make lists. I've got lists on the go all the time.
Yeah, I have a list. I have an idiot sheet next to me with everything written on there that I want to say. Obviously out of camera shot. But the amount of times that I actually look at that piece of paper is minimal. Probably only when I'm reading out the measurements that I've taken, because I won't remember them all. But everything else is usually from memory, even though it's written down.
So you write down all your sort of specifications and stuff on a piece of paper?
Yeah, because I won't remember them all. Yeah.
So I used to do that, but then I started a spreadsheet. And I love my spreadsheets, as I've mentioned. And I've now got this master spreadsheet with about 150 watches on it, with all the facts, figures, stats, and specifications. And a few people have said, "Oh, why don't you make that public?" Pfft, what? And now all the other watch reviewers have access. Are you joking?
Let them do their
100 hours worth of work in that spreadsheet. Like I'm just going to give it away.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's massive, but yeah.
So one last question, guys. There's a question from True 2022. Anyone watch comedy podcasts? Kyle Dunnigan is brilliant.
I watch Kyle and Jackie O, or listen to Kyle and Jackie O. Australian podcasts from the their Australian morning radio in Sydney. They are massive. Love Australian culture, and Kyle and Jackie O. I used to listen to and watch Hamish and Andy, but they seem to have sort of quietened down. They've got families and whatnot. But yeah, Kyle, I can't encourage people enough to go and listen to Kyle and Jackie O on podcast. Australian radio is like nothing else I've ever heard. There's a couple of swear words that are banned. That's about it. It's literally they will discuss anything and everything, and almost nothing gets bleeped out. And it's like 6 a.m. over in Sydney to sort of 9, 10 a.m. It's like a proper drive time morning show. During this kids' school run, they tone it down a little bit and they make it a little bit more PG. But as soon as those kids are in school, man, it's unbelievable. But it's also incredibly sensitive and touching. They do a lot for charity. They're incredible people. The show is just amazing. And I listen to it religiously every day. Yeah.
So there you have it, True. Head over, check it out.
And it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious.
So unless there's any more questions, guys and girls, I think we're going to call it an evening. For myself, Gary, thank you very much for coming on.
Man, it's been fun.
I appreciate it. I knew there was a little bit of an error, a clerical error from my side in terms of dates and stuff, because I was having a bit of a Wally moment. But I do appreciate you coming in a bit earlier. I think originally I told you tomorrow, and then it became apparent
well, my schedule is not that busy.
He sent me the wrong month, the wrong day, and the wrong person.
Did he?
You know,
it's a miracle that it ever happened. Then, yeah. But to be honest, 99% of the time, I'm just the other side of this laptop reviewing watches, so it wasn't very far for me to come. So yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been fun. I'll come on whenever. It's been really good to chat to you guys. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you, giving up your time for us as well, because you could have been doing some watch reviews, really.
I would have been putting the little one to bed, so it was a small sacrifice, to be honest. It was good. Thank you so much, guys. It's really, really good to talk to you.
Yes, all the guys and girls in the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll see you again next month. Has anyone got any closing words?
Am I on next month as well? Can I come back? Are you inviting me on next month?
We'll get you back again. Yeah, we'll get you back again.
Oh man! Oh, Alexander B's there. Hey, Alex.
Yeah, Alex. Legend. So yeah, just would you like to say any words, Adrian, before we check out?
No. I've got nothing specific to say except thanks, Gary, very much, and thanks to everybody in the chat. Been 1 or 2 questions in there, which is pretty good to get those come through. That's nice. They're taking part. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, Gary.
Simon. Is your wife still there, right, Simon? Can I say goodbye to the wife? Is she there?
Mate, you're on a bit of a tightrope here, mate. I'll tell you.
What's her name? At least share her name and let me give a shout out. Is she there?
Her name is Derek.
I don't believe it. Well played, Simon, is all I'm going to say. Well played.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. We shall see you in a month's time. And take it easy, guys. Have a lovely week,
guys.
All the best.
Take care.